Sharon Lyon from Advance NZ. Come to the stage, please. Round of applause.
Just you asked me for a figure for a by-election. It's $170,000, but that compares quite favourably to $1 million for a by-election should, say, Ian Lees-Galloway have stepped down and it required a by-election, so to put that figure into some sort of context.
Splendid. Right, we are now here with Sharon. Kia ora.
Kia ora. I must admit I like to see the people and the politics, and I am more about the people than the politics.
Fair enough. Well, that leads us off quite nicely. This is a new party, or parties actually, as it started. Give us some reasons you're prepared to advocate for their principles. And they're, in essence, the co-leaders, because realistically, it's the co-leaders that are trying to get into Parliament, isn't it?
Thank you. So we are really about the people's voice, and we are the fastest growing party in the history of New Zealand. And the question is to ask, why is that? And we're really asking questions. A whole group of New Zealanders are asking questions, and we have rallied behind Billy, who was in the forefront on social media, asking some of the similar questions that we have, like what's going on? The pandemic seems to have changed into something not much more than the seasonal flu for healthy New Zealanders. We would have wanted to go into Parliament on our own, but basically did not have time to do that. We went around all the minor parties and we were asking to join up, and we thought with the wave of people we had behind us that they would be more interested. So we went with Advance NZ. That was our way of getting into Parliament, but when we are in Parliament, we can actually again split off and go under our original name, New Zealand People's Party.
Now, this is a difficult one because I don't want to appear disrespectful, but when you're saying things like the COVID pandemic is akin to the seasonal flu, that's misinformation, isn't it?
Okay, so originally some of the stats came out of WHO and the CDC. They have modified their figures. Go to the website.
And I have
but
gone
this
to
government
the website.
has not changed their approach based on the change from projection. We now actually have data. You'll have to agree with that.
Yes.
We have data now, but there's been no change in our government's approach to their policy. In fact, they've amped it up.
Yes, and as a result, we have very low numbers of COVID-19 compared to, example, the United States and the United Kingdom.
Yes, and I just want to talk about cases as well. So we're talking about cases these days, cases, not deaths. And so the more people that get tested, there is, in the test itself, it's picking up very small quantities of RNA. And that RNA, coronavirus, is something that's actually been around. We've all got it. It's akin to colds and flu. So it's very hard. Even the person who invented the test said you cannot test for COVID-19. It's picking up RNA, which comes from a range of other things that we have in our body.
It sounds like you're prepared to listen to the World Health Organization in that you say they've changed their sort of view on COVID. I'm prepared to accept that. The website still says that whilst there may be some correlation between influenza and COVID, that is not across the board, and actually mortality and infection rates are the difference to make COVID far worse. That's the WHO speaking.
So there is no doubt that from the WHO and from other associated bodies, the predictions for deaths was quite astronomical. I was afraid. They are not, it's not the same, but as I'm saying, there's no modification whatsoever from a predicted global pandemic to something for healthy New Zealanders really is not much more than a severe seasonal flu.
That's
inaccurate. People that have died have really had multiple symptoms. They have been the elderly, and those are at risk with other complicating conditions.
And,
Would you agree with that?
I'm just going to say that is because we are in New Zealand. That's because the borders are fairly tightly closed. That's because we have low caseloads. You look at the UK and the projections that they're putting forward right now and the case numbers they actually have and the deaths they actually have, and the same in the United States. It appears to me that we have some tight regulations, and that's because we're managed to keep the numbers down. And I'm sure our candidates might disagree on the nuances of that, but that appears to be where we are at the moment.
There's a lot of difference between cases and deaths, and we could debate this, but I'd quite like to move on.
Yeah, no, and so would I. So Advance New Zealand it appears to be somewhat of a single or dual issue party. You've got the desire to change the democratic system and tweak that, and also the COVID response. How, and that could be akin to something like the legalised cannabis Aotearoa party, a single issue that they wanted to focus on. How does that not impede your ability in some way to let people know what they'd be voting for with Advance NZ in other aspects of
we
their
are
lives?
rolling out our policy now, and I must admit, every second night we're up till 2, 3 in the morning talking about policy. We're a very new party, so I'm not going to be here telling you this list of things that we've achieved. We're actually very current and looking at the current situation. We're not planning roads ahead or resting on our laurels. We're looking at situations that are facing New Zealand now. As we face a recession, we're asking questions. And the concern with our party is some of the questions we're asking, we're shut down from even asking them. For example, even this council here is signed up to something that they've changed the name, that is Agenda 21. But we are not allowed to even talk about it, not allowed to ask the questions. I would like to ask more questions of Tangi sometime about that. So, yeah, there's the vaccines. We're just corralled towards vaccines. We're not told what's in it. We're not really given notice that the vaccine manufacturers have absolutely no liability, completely indemnified, and have been for a couple of decades. Why is that?
Do you not then have, thank you, do you not have faith in the medical profession?
I do.
Or the medical institution
Yes, I
in New Zealand?
absolutely do. And
So
there
do
is
you
a
not think
lot.
there is a gateway there from drugs coming through to help New Zealanders be healthy?
For me, Bill Gates is a salesman for vaccines. He has gone on record as saying for every $1 he puts into vaccines, he makes 20. My granddaughter died after a vaccination. I didn't ask the questions prior to that. What's in them? Are they safe? What happens when things go wrong? But the answer to the second one, they don't have to be safe because they're indemnified. And if I have somebody fixing my roof, if I have products that are manufactured, I have some comeback. I'm asked to put something into my arms and there is no comeback if things go wrong. I say there's something wrong, and my party is asking those kinds of questions.
Very good.
The people are.
And as you said, you are asked to do that. There is still a choice.
The government has passed legislation to give them the power to come into our homes if they wish. Jacinda said, but I thought everybody would want it voluntarily. No one that's connected with my party will do that. What happens then if you don't want it voluntarily? The law has been passed, the Bill of Rights has been eroded, and this government can bring police or the military into your home to perform a medical procedure or vaccinate you if they wish.
Okay, Sharon.
I find that dangerous.
Thank you, Sharon. I hope you appreciate I've given you time to say
Thank
that.
you.
Just to finish up, we're asking everyone the same questions. The cannabis legalisation and control, do you support that? Yes or no?
No, and
the end of life choice bill, yes or no?
no.
No? And can you demonstrate any te reo or sign language?
Do you know, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
I would have loved it to be not compulsory, but part of the curriculum as I was growing up. So, Tangi, that was amazing. And I'm a yes to that being in our schools. I'm an ex-high school teacher.
No, but she can't, but then I couldn't a while ago either, so we'll give some fairness there. Sharon, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.